I'm Mark Seifter.
And I'm Linda Zayas Palmer.
And this is Arcane Mark Biased Reactions. Welcome everyone to part 2 of our biased reactions to Lost Omens Legends. A reaction so biased that we may need 3 episodes to be biased enough to contain our bias.
Yes.
Also, thanks so much for the cheer, Numbat.
So, where we left off last time, we had been just talking about Coral the Conqueror. I guess we should say this book has a lot of, instead of having big chapters, this book has a lot of smaller sections, each of which it highlights a legend in the setting.
If you want to see us biasedly praising that, you can go back to when we have our biased reaction towards the table of contents at the beginning of the last episode, which is still up on Twitch. Unless you're watching this in the last, 2 days that it's going to be up on Twitch, in which case, okay, yeah, you can't see that episode, sorry.
Alright, so let's continue. We were just about to start with a biased reaction to the section on
Princess Eutropia.
Grand Princess Eutropia Stavian.
That's right.
So let's go ahead and bring that book up right here.
That's right. So, just like we were saying about the sections, that they can all be whatever they're going to be. So, Coral the Conqueror was almost entirely a story about someone finding evidence that maybe this conqueror was actually a dragon.
Okay,
but Princess Eutropia.
Taldagus there? Taldagus is so cute.
It's got Taldagus. I mean, that's what you got there.
I also just love that Taldagus is like... The idea of Eutropia naming her dog Taldagus in part because she knew that a lot of other more stuffy members of the Talda nobility would think that she wasn't taking things seriously enough.
Mm-hmm. So, for Princess Eutropia's entry, the entire thing is basically a letter by, the freelancer's OC, Samuel Maligant, who is kind of interested in is a Norgorbrite who's kind of interested in what's going on with Eutropia and all of her situation. Oh, wow.
Whoa,
thanks for gifting so many subs, Numbat.
Numbat just gifted 20 subs. Wow. All sub channel. Thank you so much. All sub channel. Hype for real. We are at 300% of tier 5.
Top tier hype chain. Well, nobody else sub. Hype! Alright. So we've got this awesome letter that is just like an unscrupulous Norgorbrite is analyzing sort of the aftermath of War for the Crown.
Let's read the first line of the letter here.
My
dear charlatans, traitors, backstabbers, vipers, and other colleagues.
Yep.
So much personality in this book.
Yep. Yes, even the Norgorbrite was named Taldagus, on which I have no comment about the name of the dog.
Yes.
Oh, it looks like Luis may have slipped in without a
sub, and Altero just fixed that. Thank you, Altero.
Yes.
Kitsune says the scrupulous Norgorber worshippers are the ones you gotta watch out for. Because if they manage to make people think they're scrupulous, then
yep,
they are serious masters of the art of deception.
So there's a whole bunch of sort of analysis from this character that reveal that sort of some of the back matter plots that were in the continuing the campaign for War for the Crown did come into reality, such as situations where the cult of the Twilight Child that worships Prince Carius did not completely die down. Allies of High Strategos Maxillar Pantherius forming their group in the military known as the Ninth Army of Exploration, and graffiti depicting a 3-headed crow popping up all over Opara. So, yeah, that happened. But on the other hand, it's still an ending where Eutropia is in, her pretty friendly version. It's probably towards one of the more neutral endings. Prince Carius is helping out. Martella from War for the Crown is helping out, and it's a pretty cool section. It shows that she's reaching out, as we talked about in the section on Indira, Marasek, and Camilla Dreadnought, and she's reaching out to the nearby rulers, and of course, there's problems with Kadira because
it's Taldor.
It's Taldor. There were a few exchanges of assassins and agents before Satrap Zerbistias was forced to pull his horns in by his vizier. So, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, it's just a letter from Norgor writes about, like, what the deal is going on here in Taldor.
For our next featured NPC, the Ghost King Geb.
Geb. That's right. So,
the namesake of the nation of Geb.
Geb is really an interesting character, and his nation is really interesting because when you think it's like this is the nation of the undead, you might think of it as like this nation of undead that's just spitting out undead everywhere and killing everybody. But other than the fact they've been at war with the nation of Nex, which kind of forced them to become dependent on undead like millennia and millennia ago.
Oh, if I like his hand castle on this facing page too, it's much more dangerous than a sand castle.
Geb's nation is like the breadbasket of the Inner Sea because the zombies just work the fields while they're being undead. And so, and they'll export grain to the living. They don't really need it as much, but they have a weird situation, and Geb sort of himself eventually grew so frustrated or perhaps listless after Nex disappeared that he just committed ritual suicide, but then he came back as a ghost. So, Geb is like a pretty despicable villain, and some of the things he's done are pretty horrible. Even among some of the other villains in Golarion, especially some of the stuff he was doing with Erasni. But he also like has other situations with him that are revealed. This is more of a traditional entry for Geb, so it's maybe not as like, whoa, it's a letter, or whoa, it's a story. But it has a lot of information about like what's going on with Geb and what's happening now that Geb has like kind of come out of his torpor and been like, wait, I've gotta do something.
Yeah. So what is the do something that he has decided to do?
And it's like 3 of my cities been wiped from the map since the last time I was paying attention. And so now, he's...
Part of my realm was pulled into the Haujin tapestry?
Yeah, that was, like, that happened so long ago. He just didn't even remember. And meanwhile, like, so, he's a ghost and he's somewhat trapped in his capital city. So, he's trying to figure out how to get out of that. He still has scars on his memory from all of what was going on. And there could be a war coming back if Nex returns, which he's thinking that Nex might be stirring, so...
He's thinking that maybe that's why he started stirring, is because in some way he sensed things.
Mm-hmm. And Sebastian says he has people working in his dungeon trying to free him from his attachment to the city. That's absolutely right. He's brought in, like, in a desperate bid, he's brought in necromancers, clerics of death, mediums, occultists, like, anything that could possibly help. That is absolutely right. So, yeah, Stump Monkey says Geb and Nex is a better love story than Twilight. Okay. Well, there's a lot of memes out there that have, like, Geb and Nex replacing, like, the cartoon Wolverine from X-Men and Jean Grey picture. Mm-hmm. That are kind of funny. Alright, so next, speaking of Haujin, it's Haujin!
The Ruby Phoenix.
That's right.
She and her tapestry, which we mentioned a little bit in the previous one, definitely featured very heavily into one of the earlier seasons of Pathfinder Society, Year 3, Year of the Ruby Phoenix, as well as a module that came out right around that time that showed heroes who were winning the Ruby Phoenix tournament. And the canonical ending there being that the Haojin Tapestry, which is an artifact that is itself a gateway to a patchwork demiplane known as the Haojin Tapestry, came into the hands of the Pathfinder Society.
That's right. So there's all sorts of interesting information about Haojin that is based off of the lore from the Pathfinder Society seasons.
I think one of the things that I really like about this character is the way that it explores sort of what happens when someone's power sort of initially at least outstrips their consideration for the consequences of using it. But in a character that's not like an evil character who's just like, oh, haha, it's someone who is powerful and generally well-intentioned, but then things can spiral well out of control.
Mm-hmm. She was trying to preserve things, but she caused incredible harm on large portions of situations. Like on areas, on people that got pulled up. And she's had time to come to terms with that over like several 300 years that she's been chilling out in Axis.
Yeah. And you got to see, and PC's got to see her in Axis in one of the recent-ish Pathfinder Society scenarios. And it's definitely cool to explore that story.
Mm-hmm. Chillaxising? Is that when you're chilling out on Axis?
It sounds kind of like chiliaxing there.
Yeah.
Which I think is very different.
More in the Lawful Evil direction. That's right. And as Altro pointed out, Haojin is ace but not arrow.
Mm-hmm. And folks who are interested in the story of Haojin and sort of what the ramifications are of having her come back to Golarion should check out the upcoming Fist of the Ruby Phoenix adventure path.
Plus, look at some of these, like, really over-the-top items that she has. Like, the unique mountain to the sky, where it just, like, it's a walnut shell with a mountain, and you set it down, and it creates a 5,000-foot-tall mountain that takes 8 hours to climb.
Yeah, I mean, if you're that powerful, for that powerful of a spellcaster, it totally makes sense that she's been able to invent all sorts of
and Celestial
magic
Peach.
items.
And she didn't necessarily even invent all of these either. Some of them are like probably ones that she found.
Yes, for her parts of her famous collection.
Yeah, it says the following are from her collection, and she has found no rightful owner. The ruby string, like the red string, that can help you create demiplanes.
That's a frayed piece of the Haojin Tapestry itself.
Mm-hmm. And Starshot Arrow, which can basically give you no range penalties to the max range of your weapon, or for the greater Starshot Arrow, anywhere.
You fire at any creature you can detect regardless of range.
Yes.
Just teleports and hits them.
Yep. I'm scrying on you. I'm gonna shoot you with this arrow.
So for all the memes that we've sometimes talked about, it was like, you wouldn't want a character that could just kill their enemies wherever they are automatically or whatever. If you thought that idea of like, yeah, but it would really be cool to be able to make shots from a ridiculously long distance, then greater Starshot arrows are the item for you.
I mean, you're going to need a lot of this rare arrow that there's only a few of, because they are literally come from a star that ventured too close.
Yeah,
and was shot down by a
see,
moonlit
that's
archer.
why this is the perfect place for rare items to be those kinds of things that would be really fun to play with, but that you wouldn't want to have like having all across the world.
And yes, Sebastian, those items were just very intentionally based off of Chinese legends and myths. So then there's also a map of tapestry sites. Like, you wouldn't necessarily see that in every entry, but it's perfect here. It's got some of the big, important areas in the Haojin Tapestry.
The following notable sites once dwelled within the famed Haojin Tapestry. The Haojin Tapestry that certainly underwent some turmoil in recent years, shall we say. The Haojin Cataclysm interactive special.
So next, we have a gross gooey creature known as Hashim ibn Sa'id, Might not look like it, but
He is
lawful evil genderless vidilith infiltrator, aka a veiled master.
Yes.
So, this is basically one of those Algolfu veiled masters who is pulling the strings behind situations. In this case, Katapesh, the Bazaar of the Bazaar, where you can buy anything. And there's a conversation that this veiled master is having with other veiled masters telepathically that's like, why did you even help out this doctor to heal people? Like, this is against what we want. It's like, oh no, it will help because it will promote her anti-deific rhetoric of the laws of mortality, and then that will help us against the gods.
Exactly as planned.
Yep, exactly as planned.
So this section talks about some of the history of the Pact Masters, as well as some of the other figures that Hashim is interacting with here.
Yep. And there's also a letter from Hashim.
Like Shimon J, the Knoll abolitionist.
Yep.
Who has discovered some secrets.
That's right. There's a letter to Cassia Zero, who is the one who is mentioned from Rahadum, that is very effusive and friendly. It's like, oh, it's been so long since you graced fair Katapesh with your presence. It would do me well to lay eyes on you again. There are many here who could use treatment, and some eager to listen to your speeches on the laws of mortality.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to discuss them together. But we'll see.
Just because you're lawful evil doesn't mean you have to be rude to everyone.
Yes. It's actually very polite, and there's nothing suspicious in it. But we'll see that in Cassie's entry that she got suspicious from that letter that was sent to her. She's like, something seems off. I think there's something wrong about this guy.
Yeah, well, because as this entry discusses, he is not the original Hashim who used to be in this. This is the entry for the imposter, the impersonator.
The imposter Hashim. That's right. And so next after that
someone
is
far more valorous.
Double, or no, it's not a double entry. It's just Irabeth.
Yes.
It has Anavia in a picture. Irabeth Tirabade from, everyone's probably gonna know her even better soon because of the Wrath of the Righteous computer game, and she's from Wrath of the Righteous, the hero of the 5th Mendevian Crusade. One of the early, like, NPC buddy characters from Wrath of the Righteous, who is a female half-orc paladin. She's super cool. I think popular with like most groups that play Wrath of the Righteous.
Yeah, totally. So this talks about Irabeth's background and history, and the fact that she and her wife had their whole like, yes, we're gonna retire off into the sunset type thing, but that didn't necessarily last because there was too much of a call for heroism.
Yep.
There's too much of a call for heroism in Irabeth's bones, and so she is back out there as an active figure on the world stage.
Once you're that much of a hero, it's hard to completely stay off. And so there's still fights to be done to win back the Sarkor Scar. Absolutely. And then some of her old enemies yet linger. So that's pretty cool. And there's Anavia, her wife, over there.
A very cool adventuring couple.
Speaking of Mendev, thankfully for Mendev, everyone who lives there's name starts with IRA. So they're also very close to each other in the alphabet. Yes. And we have Irahai, not related to Irabeth, but also not even from the same background, because Irihai was born to Thuvian Crusaders. The new Chancellor of Mendev after Queen Galfred was like, yeah, I lived 3 lifetimes with 2 Sun Orchid Elixirs to do this thing. We got the World Wound down. Gotta go do Iomade stuff as the Herald now. Peace. You can do this, right, Irihai? And Irihai was like, yeah, let's do this. So we saw Irihai previously while biasly reacting to Artokus. Was it Artokus who had the letter about the flowers to Irihai earlier on, or something like that? Yeah. Potentially somebody had written a letter with flowers in it that was mentioned to her, and yes, that's right. She's of course pen pal of Artokus Karad. Thanks to winning the Sun of Great Lizard twice, and Irihai handling that the second time, presumably. She managed to establish a pen palship with Artokus. There's also a cool sword, the Sovereign Blade, which has been sent over by the Black Sovereign Kevath Kul of Numeria, who you would not expect would just send the blade, but yeah, just sent a gift. It's this blade from a Sky Metal alloy with mysterious properties that may be able to channel electricity or burn with flame. And the Mendevian mages can't figure out what it does, except for that it changes every time they try to identify it. That's pretty cool. So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff going on with Mendev and the Sarkor, and Irihai is going to have to use a combination of diplomacy and like the power of all of the Crusaders to do that. I don't know. What do you think, Linda?
I think it's pretty cool. I mean, I mean, even with the world wound closed, the Mendev as a nation had to struggle for so long against that. So finding a different sense of national identity and also reorienting towards some of the more clear and present threats.
Makes sense. All right. So what about Jackie?
You probably don't want to just call her Jackie, Blood Mistress of the Red Mantis, Jacqueline. One of the, if not the most powerful assassin in the entire world. She is...
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know.
She rules over the Red Mantis with a crimson fist.
Yes.
Her features suggest a mix of Tian Nidalese and Taldan ancestry.
And when it comes to trying to... She certainly cultivates mystery about her. She doesn't really want people to know about her origins. And I like that, a lot of the entry here talks about not Blood Mistress Jacqueline has learned that not all problems facing the Red Mantis can be solved by a threat of assassination, but most of the things here are do talk about the role of assassination. But I mean, the Red Mantis have a specific rule where they will not assassinate rightful monarchs and leaders of nations. So instead, they have to find other ways to deal with political challenges.
Yep. They have all sorts of situations that are cropping up. One of them is the Jackie Abbey thing going on, where Jacqueline was working for Abigail Thrune, but Jacqueline decided to make public her charter from Abigail about her extracurricular activities of assassinations against mercenary companies like the Hell Knight Order of the Scourge. And then she also refused to assassinate the Rahadumi healer Cassia Ziriel, who decried the worship of Asmodeus and all other deities, because of the fact that the Red Mantis had accidentally tried to assassinate Cassie for bringing back the victims of earlier Red Mantis with obscure occult ritual, only to find out the assassin had botched the job and that the doctor had saved the nearly dead person. Plus, also, just another interesting Red Mantis tidbit is that they received a request to assassinate Tarbafon, the Whispering Tyrant, as an ultimate, since he's not currently the ruler of a nation, and since a Che character himself, the god the Red Mantis worship, go after like would-be gods who put themselves above mortals, and that's totally what Tar-Baphon is doing. But then they had the messenger imprisoned, and eventually figured out that the messenger actually came from Razmaran, who was one of the first countries like, we love you, Tar-Baphon, we'll give you whatever you want. You need bodies? Yeah, okay, we're fine with that. You're cool, we're your friends. And so now they have to decide whether to retaliatory assassination against Razmir, or take the contract on Tar-Baphon, or what? Because Razmir is also a would-be god that's like... But Razmir is actually the ruler of a nation. So
that makes it tricky there. There's a lot of interesting edge cases and things that go between, like, we should defeat people who try to do this, but we can't attack people who do this, and
Yep. And
a lot of decisions.
There's
to
some
make there.
extra Red Mantis assassin feats.
And whatever decisions they make, they will write them in blood.
Because why not have extra Red Mantis assassin feats? Many of them are rare feats that are only taught by the Vernai, the high-ranking Red Mantis. But the prayer attack's in there, and that's not even rare. You can just get it.
Yeah, as long as you have the Red Mantis assassin dedication.
Certainly. I mean, you can't just be like, I'm taking this feat for no reason.
No reason.
We also have some of Jacqueline's murders that she performed herself, and
those are
a
ones
mini
that
map of the
admitted
Citadel of
to,
the Red
right?
Mantis.
There's so many. She's definitely done a lot more that she hasn't admitted to, and even more than that are the number of murders that are speculatively attributed to her.
Oh, sure. But these are ones that she took credit for. Plus the little mini-map. Like, look at all these different complexes of sketchy stuff that the Red Mantis have built out under there.
Yeah, you don't want to assault their fortress, or maybe you do if you're high level enough.
Yep. Sune Warlock needed those feats. That's true. Alright, so next after that is Janatimo. Janatimo is the head of one of the 5 branches of the Magambia, the Uzunjati. They are those who learn and speak tales. And so they're one of the 5, along with the Cascade Bears, the Emerald Branches, the Tempest Sun Mages, and the other one. Maybe there's 4. No, I'm pretty sure there's another one.
Oh, I'm blanking on the last one right now.
Okay, well, I did pretty well.
Regardless, Janatimo's story here, as is appropriate for a speaker of the world's tales, begins...
The Rain Cascade Bearer, something like that.
His story begins, as is appropriate, in his own voice, telling his own tale.
Scribes.
Talking about how he... Where he came from and what his role is within the Magambia, and what his goals are and his major achievements.
Alftro cried reading that entry. Yeah, it's pretty powerful stuff, talking about why storytelling, what it means, why it's important, and it's in Janatimo's own words. And then also there's information that's in Janatimo's own words about some of the other NPCs.
Very, very appropriate for this to be in his own words.
That's right.
And there's even a feat for someone who's received secret lessons from Janatimo.
Mm-hmm. That can allow you to use your storytelling to get some bonuses and some information on troubled proteges of Janatimo.
Mm-hmm. Because not everyone who has received his instruction has gone on to follow his example.
I mean, Sihar is a good person, but she's troubled because of being like a rebel leader against Bizali. Because of being part of the Bright Lions.
Oh yeah, that's what that one is about. Right,
yep,
right.
But I mean, that still didn't follow the example of like non-violence, but is definitely using it towards fighting against an evil xenophobic mummy.
Yes.
like you do.
Which is a worthy
Like you
cause.
do.
It's a worthy cause.
Speaking of
Now,
the Magambia, just like all people from Mendev start with IRA, all of our Magambia characters here start with JA.
Yes.
And so here we have Old Mage Jatembe, one of the most powerful figures in Goldarian's history.
I like the little sidebar here too. Age is a mindset. Even in the earliest tales about him, Jatembe has always been described as an old man. Some people claim this to be a metaphor, while others ponder the unknown origins of Jatembe and how he spent his early life. Most simply consider age to be an inalienable fact of Jatembe's existence, with no justification
Do you
needed.
need to justify it? I don't know.
Yeah.
But so there's a great story called Jatembe and the Locked Mountain. That's just a story about Jatembe. And then after that, you find out that the story was coming back and forth between an Anadi, who's a spider person, and another not Anadi student, who are in a relationship together.
Mm-hmm.
May even be that picture of the like the very, very friendly spider from Spider from Anadi from Lost Omens character guide on the Magambia and the other students.
Oh, that's cool.
Alftro says definitely the same too. I mean, I think it's the same too. It
probably
doesn't say we're the ones from that picture.
That's the kind of thing Eleanor and Luis would do, though.
Well, it's also the case that you can get like there's freelancer overlap as well.
Yes.
With like the work that Andrew Mullen did and on the Lost Omens character guide too. There's information about all 10 of the 10 magic warriors. I remember that one was very important.
Because previously there hadn't been a full description of all of them until now.
Yep. It's very important though for the AP, where it had you has all of the magic warriors. Everything is figured out. Isn't there one of them that's gray? I don't see the one that's gray. I actually see some of them without colors. Well, anyway, there's 10 really awesome magic warriors, and we always knew there were 10 magic warriors, but not that we had that many magic warriors. Or not which of the 10 original magic warriors were. 7, 8, 9, 10. Alright, so yeah, that's about it for Jatembe. Also, as we just saw from the picture at the beginning, he sometimes hangs out with Baba Yaga. And Tosaf, the female Marigna psychopomp, who was also in Artokus Kurans, may have shown up in both places. How about that? It's another crossover!
So many crossovers.
More crossovers. So there's even more information about Jatembe because he's too cool. So there is, there's like a little rehearsal at the end, and then ancient spells and the wisdom of Jatembe. Talking about like all his notes, and he left a lot of them to the Magambia, but then other ones were lost, and his spells, all is one is all, where you just kind of transform everybody's matter into life energy, and then back it so that you can distribute the hit points. And Halcyon Infusion, where you can infuse your magic energy into the target to open their mind to magic.
Yes.
Pretty cool. Alright, so what else shall we be biased towards? How about Calibran and Clarith Iomidar?
Sounds good.
They are two of the most influential knights who are left in the Knights of Last Wall, who happen to be from the same family, even though they are sort of very influential with the two separate factions of the Knights of Last Wall, with Clarith as being very influential among the Crimson Reclaimers, who are like, we're going to go in there, we're going to fight, we're going to take this Crimson Oath and bring the fight to the undead. And Calibran is more with the with those who are like, well, hold on, let's the Knights vigilant, we're gonna defend anything more happening. We don't have the force to go on the
let's build
offensive
alliances.
now. We need to build alliances. We need to help the orphans of those who have fallen before, train the new knights and squires. And in theory, it's more of a round table type situation where there's not like a giant hierarchy where who's in charge of who. But Caliban, as an advisor, is very high ranking among all the knights other than the ones who are like, let's go off and reclaim things. As an advisor, as like the team bomb to all the new folks. And so it's a very interesting situation because Caliban's child, Clarith, is like part of the other faction, but that doesn't mean that they are like at each other's throats about it, even though they have some very strong disagreements about what to do.
And it's really interesting to see the two of them, to see that dynamic between the two of them, where they can disagree, but they also really work together for the best interest.
Altro says non-binary child. That is right. That is why I said child and not daughter or son. Mm-hmm. And so there's like there's a knight's story that is based off of a web fiction that's in there as well that just really fits in with these two, as well as more speculation about the mysterious patron of the Crimson Oath. I know that there's tons of fan theories online for the Crimson Oath.
And there is Clarith.
Yep. There they are. Or actually, wait. No, sorry. There she is. She, her, non-binary. Knights in training feats are here as well, because we don't just get more feats for the Red Mantis. It looks like there's more for the Last Wall Sentry, which is the basic Last Wall archetype, and then the Knight Reclaimant and the Knight Vigilant, who are the archetypes for if you want to go out there and be a Crimson Reclaimer, or the one for, wait, no, we need to defend and build up. Alright, so now for my most biased
Your most biased reaction.
Cassie Aziriel, who I just want to say, like, I'm so thrilled with this piece of art, because, like, it's not always easy to get a piece of art that is of, like, an early middle-aged woman without her winding up looking like she's 18 or, like, 70. Mm-hmm. And it's really nice. I like it a lot. And, I wrote the Cassie thing. That's why I said I was going to be super biased about it. But it is almost entirely composed of letters. It does have some components that are not in letters, that just have a little bit of additional information, but it's mostly just a bunch of letters back and forth, and you wind up learning more about her. One of her initial letters from this section is even the one in Hashim's section that he wrote to her. So it's got letters. It's got a decree from Queen Abigail II. Linda, why don't you read that with your Abigail hat on?
Oh, okay. Here we go.
Ready?
All right. Let it be known to all citizens and visitors to Chiliax that the heretic Cassie Aziro, blasphemer against the Prince of Law, is hereby sentenced to death. Those who offer information leading to her arrest shall be rewarded, and those who offer her succor shall be destroyed. None shall defy the might of Chiliax.
There we go. So, basically, Cassie Aziro, who's sometimes known as the Mother of Medicine, or the Mother of Modern Medicine, is the only character in this book to not appear in another Lost Omens book before this book, although she did appear in the Game Mastery Guide in the example of Nation Stat Block for Rahadum as an important character, and I think one other place, perhaps. But the question is, like, oh wow, so we've got battle medicine now, we've got treat wounds, like, where is all this really good medicine coming from? And the answer is Cassie Aziriel. She's from Rahadum. She's a neutral good, and this is just a character that I wanted to create to show that, like, not everyone in Rahadum, who have been often portrayed as, like, villains because they don't like deities, which means they don't like your good aligned deity that you worship, But really, they've just had a history of terrible things happening because of religion in the area, and there are people of every alignment in Randoom, including Cassie, who is incredibly anti-religion to an extent that has caused her a lot of problems. But she's absolutely neutral good, and she will go anywhere that people are suffering and that something needs to be done. She won't just research, she'll throw herself into a dangerous situation to save the day from the epidemic or to solve the medical emergency. But that doesn't stop her from being very negative against deities, including, yes, your good aligned deity, Saren Ray. So there's the letter from the Grand Vizier of Qadira, who is like, I still really want you to give a guest lecture someday.
But could you, like, maybe not call Saren Ray a bloody killer in the guise of a healer willing to murder an entire city rather than deign to explain herself? I don't think that will go over too well,
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And on this
but that's just something she said before.
Yeah.
And Cassie's like, I'm not going to take that back, because if an entire city is doing the exact opposite of what you were mysteriously telling them to do, maybe you should be more specific instead of, I'll just let them get corrupted by Ravagog and then kill them. She also wrote about addiction, a theory that the reason so many people misunderstand addiction is they see it as a personal mental failing. In truth, is a disease tied to life force and the vital essence that gives us instincts like hunger or thirst. The gods intentionally built mortals to be susceptible to addiction so we could be more easily deluded and addicted to religion and faith. And it's through that vulnerability that drugs prey upon us. Which is, like, somewhat rooted in the four essences if you read about them in the core rulebook, that, remember, like, mental essence is, like, your higher thoughts, and life essence also has faith and sort of ingrained instincts that are built into you. So, that theory is another one that the Grand Vizier was not super thrilled about. I just had a lot of fun with this.
You can see on the facing page here the
medical diagram.
The medical diagrams that really go back to the whole medieval wound man manuscript.
Cuts from a ghoul, Shog-Ti, giant scorpion, lesser Zulgoth. The loss of vital fluids must be the first concern. Alftro says, I like how it's clearly biased against the gods. She's close, but still a bit too biased. Oh, yeah, it definitely is.
It's definitely written in her perspective.
It definitely is. It's got some vaccines and other things. Oh, yeah, it's got the letter that's from Jackie that's like, I have to void your requested contract. And it explains, explains why. It talks about the fact that she came up with this algae-based sort of method of possibly helping fight against aging, that and that's what Hashim Ibn Said sent her before, but she has kind of not been willing to make that super public to everyone yet. Also, she may have an inkling of the Veiled Master's insidious schemes. Plus, if you learn straight from Cassie, there's some feats that can give you Paragon battle medicine. I mean, she's the one who initially came up with the idea for it, battle medicine, before getting plagiarized by two different scholars, one in Taldor and one Qadira. Coincidentally, within 1 month of each other, they plagiarized her at the same time. I don't know. I just thought it was unfortunately very realistic that two random dudes were just like, this is my work.
Yep.
And the Rondoomi government stepped in, or like, no.
It's hers.
Also, her birth name Cassie Alaran, because among people from the region where she lives, you sometimes take on the last name, which goes to your entire family. That is based on like a polity or a physical feature that's near the area as an honorific, considering what you did. Azir is the capital of Rahadoom, so it's a major honorific that they bestowed upon her in Rahadoom to give her a last name that's based off of the capital of Rahadum. And then finally, there is just a giant letter that she wrote to Artokus Kiran, and in that one, Alftro, yeah, exactly. She even admits her biases somewhat, and realizes that like some of the things that she does are inconsistent with each other. That she might be a bit too stubborn in some ways, but that she feels like what she's doing is important, and that she has hope, even though that doesn't mean she has hope in mortal kind, even though that doesn't mean she has faith in the gods. That you can still have faith in a person that you believe in, even if you think the gods you have serious issues with them. So yeah, I don't know. I really enjoyed writing that letter in particular, and it takes up an entire page because this is a giant letter where she's like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna be killed by Hashid. He's been so friendly, but something's going on. I'm sending my research to you. I need students. I need more people who are following these methods, because like every half year there's a 6-part AP that is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every year there's 2 of these. I can't be in 2 places at once.
I can't solve every problem. I mean, the thing is that the 6-part APs are also the things that the PCs solve, right? There's plenty of other issues in the world.
Oh yeah, but the PCs don't solve the same problems that Cassie is talking about. Cassie's not going to go kill the Whispering Tyrant.
No, she's not.
But every 6-part AP leaves victims that Cassie feels like she needs to treat. Like the Whispering Tyrant came, and there were these giant cancerous positive energy and negative energy stuff that came out, and it's like, could she treat those? They're unique victims. But then in the same year, there was also New Thassalon, which had lost medicine. And so like every year there are these 2 giant things which usually leave some catastrophically bad situation. And one doctor can't be everywhere.
Yes. Even
just the APs, and other stuff is happening other than the APs. Sebastian says, that sounds like a bad performance review for my AP players.
Left devastation in their wake.
Anyway, so that is my biased reaction to Cassie. I don't know, what's your biased reaction, Linda?
I mean, I'm certainly intrigued by the NPC. Of course, it's hard for me to I can't really have an unbiased reaction, right? Because my introduction to this NPC was through your enthusiasm, and so naturally I know I'm going to be enthusiastic about her. But I think that, I really like when there are stories in the setting that explain what's going on in the rules. So the fact that there's an NPC who is the architect of battle medicine that explains why things are changing is really cool.
Yep. Also, Cassie admits that she thought that the Artokus Karam was, like, short-sighted by just constantly staying alone by himself and turning out Sun-Orchid elixirs for Thuvia's economy, but she's changed her opinions based on realizing a bigger picture since when she was younger. Alright, so last one for tonight, I think.
Yes.
Yep, is gonna be Black Sovereign Kevath Cool.
Yes. That's
pretty cool. He, as we saw, he gave this weird sword to Chancellor Irhai as a gift. So Kevath Cool used to be just completely on drugs and under the thumb of the Technically. He's the leader of
gave him
Numeria.
These strange Numerian fluids, which severely influenced him, and now that the Technic League leader is gone, he's been coming out of that, and he's been focusing on trying to pick up the pieces.
That's right. And basically Kevath Cole is still a chaotic neutral and has serious issues, but like decided Cassandra is a nice deity, and Cool Inkit, his second in command and consort, has still lost affection for him due to his drug-fueled hedonism, but now is at least more interested in spending time with him now that he has stopped being just completely out of it all the time. There's a lot more politics going on in Numeria, and he has been reaching out to people like Irihai, with his sword, and he's trying to hunt down the last of the Technic Leagues and to help their victims and the androids into his service. Plus, we have his special Blade of the Black Sovereign, a level 15 awesome sword that you can see him depicted holding. That has like the circuits on it. And
a new material
called Sovereign Steel that's an alloy of cold iron and no qual. And the best part is that basically it says some believe it's possible to craft shields of Sovereign Steel as well. In one of his fits, Gavakel yelled that he had no use for them and banned anyone from making such a thing. So far, smiths have been too afraid to confirm whether or not it was a joke. And that all started because of the fact that, like, originally the entry was missing a shield and there wasn't space. So I was like, there's not space for a shield. And Luis said, well, maybe Kenneth Cole just yelled at them and said, I don't use a shield. We don't need a shield. I was like, that actually sounds like something he would do. And then everyone agreed that it was. So...
It's funny what the different types of things that can influence decisions, such as page space.
Yep. But it was like, no, it really feels real.
It does.
From the fact that, like, because look at him. He's holding this giant two-handed sword. He's not going to use a shield. I'm sure Kolunkit would have liked it if there were shields, but, you know. Yep. And so that is kind of, maybe, maybe we could do Kismar Crookchar because they're very connected. Yes. They're very connected because Kismar Crookchar, tenacious Numerian drug dealer, is kind of a big part of what is left. Now, the Technic League has gone down.
Yeah.
And, basically, Kismar Crookchar was, like, pulled into the Technic League as a slave and, eventually got really, really into drugs, but after the Technic League has broken down, is kind of like one of the biggest of the pieces of the Technic League who still
has some of the knowledge and some of the operating methods.
Yep. And is also like using his own stuff, as you can see from his eyes shining with the same color as the drug that's here. So there's like a journal from the former Technic League leader about Kismar, the backstory of Kismar, some of Kismar's allies, including a hype-using Medusa, other remnants of the Technic League, and, oh yeah, there's a great picture of the Medusa on the next spread as well. Also, hilarious lab notes. Like, venom immunization postmortem. Ultimately, my hypothesis was disproved. Any similarities between a Medusa's serpentine aspects and a comparable serpentine species are coincidental. Neon Garter's venom proved impotent. Only measurable effects one quart produced were mild cognitive impairment and moderate indigestion. Proper immunization requires direct source sample. Cognitive impairment too low to be worth developing as a weapon or to merit development for entertainment. So, yeah, there's just different lab notes. Dead bomb serum development. Corpse heart discontinued. Note to self, develop healing potion vaporizer. Advantages, administer healing without touching dying person's mouth. Have healing administered without others touching my mouth. Undeath test. Rejuvenating steam room for healing and relaxation after combat. Potential new source of revenue. Unconventional delivery method conceals healing from enemies. Neutralize violent remains animated after dead bomb detonation. Which was the previous lab notes about the dead bomb detonation. So, yeah, we've also got some political situations that are going on there because of the fact that Crookchar had to team up with certain people who you might not have expected in Numeria just based on how things were going on.
So
and
he has his organization now, which he calls the Blue Streaks.
Mm-hmm. That's right, because of the blue hair streaks and other stripes on the scales of Gata, who is
the Medusa.
The Medusa. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's right.
So you can see some of the secrets of the blue streaks here.
Yep, some of the items, like the alchemical atomizer that comes from the notes on the atomizer. Like the healing with the potion vaporizer. So we've got that item there as a rare level 10 item that can vaporize potions. And we've got the drug hype, including diluted hype, which is still uncommon, but not quite as rare because it's so diluted that you can make more of it. And the much rarer hype and plasma hype. With plasma hype where you just like become quickened to step, stride, climb, or swim for a round. And if you can just keep yourself in stage 1 or 2, just sort of try to ping pong yourself back between those. Never go to stage 3. You're pretty good shape from hype. But if you wind up in stage 3, you wind up getting drained and stupefied. So
you probably want to avoid that.
Yep. So yeah, okay. Next, when we start on Saturday with part 3, we'll start with the Lick-Toad Goblins, which everyone likes. So I think this is a good place.
Baby goblins.
What?
They be goblins.
They do be goblins. So this is a good place to stop for part 2 of our incredibly biased whirlwind tour through Lost Omens Legends, which is so biased that it's taking longer.
Let's say goodbye to YouTube.
Bye, YouTube.
Bye.
See you next time. All right, non-YouTubers.
So, speaking of next time, we are going to be continuing on our next episode on Saturday with this very same bias.
That means that next Tuesday will actually be Class Chat Sorcerer.
Yes, that's right.
I will move it up to be there.
And then the Saturday after that, we will be reacting biasly to the Advanced Player's Guide.
And that Tuesday after that will be part 2, and
of
that
reacting
might
biasly, which
that
may
might
continue
take
into
more
the
than 2.
yes, exactly.
And then the Saturday after that is going to be reacting biasly to Lost Omens Gods and Magic, but at some point when we're not continuing episodes, Class Chat Sorcerer will be next Tuesday now because of this, and then Linda's Adventure Shatterstar Part 3 will be whatever Tuesday after that is not a biased reaction.
So we'll continue to update the list of upcoming episodes accordingly.
Okay, so yeah. Oh wait, right. Blogs. They're big ones. We don't want to leave them out for people who joined in partway through.
So we have a blog about PaizoCon Worldwide.
That's right.
The big announcement in that is that the mystery convention the mystery event in August, where the next year of Pathfinder Society is premiering, is going to be PaizoCon Europe Online, which
PaizoCon Europe Online.
PaizoCon Online Europe, which is August 19th through 22nd. And we also have there's another Women's Day blog.
That's right.
As well as what was the third one?
I mean, it's not a Women's Day blog. Like for a month.
Yes, Women's Month. Apologies.
Yes.
And a second blog to celebrate women in our community, as well as an announcement that
Paizo Live Episode 2.
Episode 2 is going
featuring
to be
Mark
this
Seifter
Friday.
and many others as well. I just can't always remember exactly who's on it. I don't want to get it wrong. Let me put it in. Eleanor, Jason's Bowman and Keeley, John,
this guy,
me, Mike Kimmel, and Patrick Reaney. That's right. Actually, how many of the people, I think, is Eleanor the only person who uniquely has their first name at the company? Or has John remained reached the point where he's now the only? No, because John failed. So
yeah,
that's right. Eleanor is the only person who uniquely has that first name at Paizo.
Yes, because we have multiple Mikes, multiple Marks, multiple Johns, multiple Jasons, and multiple Patricks.
That's right. There we go then.
And that one, of course.
All right.
Yes, go say it. Luis says go say hi to Eleanor while she's live.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Looking forward to hearing what she has to say.
It's going to be awesome because it's going to be in the Lost Omens and Organized Play section. All right. So, everyone, we will see you on Saturday to finish being biased about Lost Omens Legends.
About this book.
But
as you all have voted, we're going to be showing our bias for quite a while.
With a short break to do the Class Chat Sorcerer next Tuesday. So, until then, stay safe, stay healthy, everyone. We'll see you on Saturday.
Bye.
Or whenever the next time may be.